Hello everyone, this is going to be a video about using the if statement and using some logic. Okay, and perhaps we'll get into the lookup function as well too. Okay, so first of all I want to go back and look at the if statement. If you recall, the if statement does have three parts. Right? If you remember the logical test, what to do if true, what to do if false. And we made some examples of complex if functions where we have to put another if inside an if function, and we'll start with that today. Okay, so you remember we did the pass fail honors thing where that did involve two if statements. Here are some other examples that you could try to implement using multiple ifs. We're going to do this third one right here where we have two things that we have to test for. We have a test for if the person has a sufficient grade and if the person has sufficient attendance, okay, in order to pass the course. So here in Excel, you can see there's the condition there. Okay, in order to pass a course, you need sufficient attendance and sufficient grade. Okay, so we said sufficient grade is 50% or above, and attendance is 20 or above. Well, actually, this isn't percentage. We'll just use numbers. So 50 and above, 70 and above. If both of those are okay, then we can say the person passes. So let's implement that here first. And we'll start that with an if statement. Okay, maybe to demonstrate this, I'll use the pop-up box. If. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to test is I'm going to test the person's grade. Okay. And I'm going to see if that's greater or equal to 50. Okay. If that person has a sufficient grade, think about it. Can we say the person passes or not? Not yet, okay, because we still have to check the person's attendance. He might have a sufficient grade, but what if the attendance is not enough, okay? So if that's true, we say, okay, the person has sufficient grade, but now we have to check if the person has sufficient attendance. Okay, so that entails another if statement. So we test the attendance. Okay, greater or equal to 70. Okay, if that's true, okay, remember the comma. If that's true, then we can say the person passes. Okay, if the person doesn't have sufficient attendance, we can assume they fail, even though they had a sufficient grade. Right? And the last thing we need to consider is this one right here. If that was false in the first place, if we tested the grade and it wasn't greater than 50%, we can automatically assume that person failed in the first place because the grade wasn't sufficient. Oops, my spelling is bad. Fail. Okay, so I'll leave that up there for a couple seconds. Pause if you need to. Check that out. Okay, and we can autocomplete, and as you can see, this person fails because neither attendance nor grade. This person fails because of their attendance. This person fails because of their grade. Okay, and these ones have both attendance and grade, which are sufficient. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is using logical operators. Okay, what are logical operators? They kind of correspond to the English language using things like and, or, not. Okay, so if you think about it, if I say this sentence using the word and, what does that actually mean? What's the logic behind that? When I use the word and, it means that both these conditions need to be met. Okay. Think about if I wrote this with or. You pass the course if you have sufficient attendance or sufficient grade. That completely changes the logic, doesn't it? That would be a very nice course, right? Attendance or grade, so you could just attend all classes, not do any work. Or you could just do all your work from home and never attend classes, right? Or, it means one or the other. Okay, so and or, these are logical operators. And so let me show you how to implement this kind of same problem using those logical operators. Okay, so here, let's call this and. Okay, And here in the logical section, you can see that there is in fact the logical function AND. If I implement that, it says, okay, what two things do I want to AND together, right? I want to apply the AND function to what? I want to apply it to the grade, so I'm going to check if grade is greater or equal to 50, and, right, and what? And attendance is greater or equal to 70. Those things are AND. And as you can see, it keeps giving me more fields. So you can actually AND many things. I could say AND grade, and attendance, and I don't know, taller than 150 because I like to fail short people, and blue hair because only people with blue hair can pass the course, and female because I want all the males to fail, you know, all those stupid things. But you can see you can make a sentence and you could logically put those together. In our case, we just have two, this and this. Okay, and you can see that when I apply the AND function, it returns true or false. Okay, and it corresponds to these right there. Oops, I noticed I haven't had a spelling mistake, but okay, never mind. Okay, so what if I don't want true and false? Okay, then I could just use that as an intermediate. Okay, and let's just put result here. And then from here I can put an if statement. Right? Logical if this. Okay. I could put if that is equal to, oops, true. All right, I could put that. Notice that I didn't put quotation marks here around this true. The reason for this is that this is actually a logical value. It's not text. Okay, it's treated like a logical value, like a 1 or a 0, right? 0 being false, 1 being true. Okay, so you don't need quotation marks there because it's actually a logical value. Okay, but I don't actually need to do that. I could just say F4. Test F4. What is F4? Is F4 true or is F4 false? Right? And we know that an if statement tests for true and false. If true, it'll do this. If false, it'll do that. So just take a look at F4. If it's false, it'll go all the way down to here. If it's true, it'll go to here. Right? I'll just take a look at that value in there. So we say F4, take a look at it. If it's true, then I'll just write pass. Right? If F4 is false, then I can write fail. And you can see that I get the same results there, just using this as an intermediate step and throwing that inside this. Of course, you could do this all in one step using the function in function thing that we talked about in my last video, where you take all of this thing, stick it inside an if statement, right? Use that as my first thing, and then if statement, 3 parts, right? Comma, if true, pass. If false, fail. Okay, so that would be your function in function thing. Okay, so feel free to pause it and take a look at that if you need to, but I'm just gonna get out of it and leave it alone just so I don't mess up my original stuff. Okay? Okay. All right, well, next up is the OR. Okay, so let's say we do have a class that says you can pass if you have sufficient attendance or sufficient grade. Okay, so that'd be a really nice course. Right, I would love to take that course. I would just come to class all the time and not do any work. Okay, so basically, what things are you trying to OR together? Right, this greater or equal to 50, or this greater or equal to 70. And again, you could do this or this or this or this or that or that. Okay. Okay, and you can see here that basically everybody passes except for Jim, poor guy. He has neither attendance nor grade. Everybody has at least one good thing, so they pass. Okay, and of course you would again apply that if statement again if you don't want true or false and you want pass fail. Throw that inside an if statement. So I've set up an example for you to try here. So if you know my son will refuse to eat something if it's green or if I told him to eat it, right? Just like your normal kid, right? So here I've set that up. Right, broccoli, yes, it's green. Yes, I told him to eat it. Fruit, no, it's not green. Yes, I told him to eat it. Lettuce, yes, it's green. No, I didn't tell him to eat it. And chocolate, no, it's not green. And no, I didn't tell him to eat it. So based on the examples that we've done, try to solve that. Okay, so remember this one. We are using or, right? There's a hint for you, right? In the language, there's an or, there's the one you should use. And go ahead, pause it and work on it, and then after I'll show you the solution. Okay, so pause it now. All right then, well here's the solution. So you can see right in there. So I use an if statement to decide if the kid refuses or not. Okay, and how do I decide if the person refuses or not? I use the or function. Right, there's the logical test. Right, take note of the commas. Right, logical test, comma, if true, comma, if false. And here's the logical test. Or it's green, or I said don't eat it. Or no, so I said do eat it. Okay, so sorry, let me repeat that. Or yes, it's green, or yes, I said eat it. Okay, so all that thrown into an if statement, comma, if true, comma, if false. There's your solution. Okay, hope you got that.